Well, good morning or afternoon, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Jamie Foss, and I'm on the Technology Partnership team at Couchbase. I'd also like to give my colleagues an opportunity to introduce themselves as well. David, would you like to go first?
Sure. Hi, I'm David Schecksnyder, Partner Solutions Architect here at Couchbase. Focused mainly with working with technology partners such as AWS and CData to drive integrations as well as evangelize the art of the possible with throughout our partner ecosystem.
Bridger, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi, my name is Virendra Gosai. I'm a partner development manager with the data and analytics team here at AWS. In my role at AWS, I help partners like Couchbase and CData co-build, co-market, and co-sell together with AWS. So nice to meet everybody. I'm based here in New York City.
Fantastic. Thank you, Virendra. Saurabh, would you like to go next?
I'm Saurabh Shanbhag. I'm Virendra's counterpart at AWS. In my role as a partner solution architect, I work with technology partners to have the best experience for end users for their products on AWS.
Fantastic. And last but absolutely not least, we have Jared. Jared, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Jared Johnson, Senior Technology Evangelist at CData, and my role is to help create content and participate in events with our customers and partners to spread the virtues of CData and its connectivity solutions.
Great. Well, thank you all. I really appreciate the introductions. So we're here to discuss an important topic that impacts organizations across a range of industries. Which is building effective and efficient data pipelines. So in today's data-centric world, the need for efficient and accurate data analytics is really more pressing than ever. However, I would say that creating robust data pipelines between data sources and cloud data warehouses can be a significant challenge for enterprises, for customers. And at the end of the day, inefficient data pipelines and poor data quality can really lead to missed opportunities, reduce competitiveness, and even significant revenue loss. So by the end of the webcast, you'll have a comprehensive understanding of how to build an effective data pipeline that leverages Amazon Redshift, Couchbase Capella, and CData Sync. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in and explore how we can turn these challenges into opportunities for growth and efficiency. Okay. Now, in terms of agenda, I'm going to start the webinar off with a bit of an overview of the complementarity of operational databases like Couchbase Capella and data warehouses like Amazon Redshift for online analytical processing. And then I'll highlight a joint customer success story before I hand the presentation over to Virendra from AWS, who you just met. And he will highlight the data challenge that modern enterprises are up against. Then the experts are going to bring everyone up to speed on the technologies at play. And David Schecksnyder from Couchbase is going to introduce the valuable Customer 360 use case. We'll leverage that to present an insightful demo that shows how the technologies can work together to create efficient and robust data pipelines. And then we'll come back together for a roundtable discussion that gets into some details about optimizing data flows and maximizing the performance of your data warehouse. And finally, we'd very much like to answer some of your questions for Q&A. So if you look on the right side of your screen, you'll see a section for your questions, and we will leverage those at the end of the webinar to answer as many of those as we can. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. So, let me lead this conversation off with an overview of the technologies at play. Let's start with operational databases, which are designed for high velocity and are optimized for read and write operations. They're really essential for running the day-to-day operations of a business, which means they typically store data like customer information, real-time transaction data, inventory statuses, And, so now that we've kind of covered down on the operational database piece, I want to also take a look at data warehouses, which are sort of the other complementary technology at play. And these data warehouses are optimized for query performance, and they're designed to store historical data for analytical purposes. And finally, we have OLAP, or online analytical processing. And that's a category of tools that allows users to analyze data from multiple dimensions or across multiple dimensions. OLAP is particularly useful for complex queries and data analytics. And it brings value to enterprises by enabling quick and interactive querying, which also allows businesses to gain insights that aren't immediately obvious. Now that we have sort of an overview of the complementarity of the technologies at play, I want to highlight one example customer use case to give you a sense for the value that could be generated by bringing these technologies together. So one of the largest multinational financial services corporations, which offers a wide range of services, which include retail banking, corporate banking, as well as investment solutions, they needed a way to easily replicate and pipe data from a range of sources, one of which included Couchbase. And so they selected CData Sync to create and run those pipelines for a compliance and financial reporting use case. And CData Sync, by the way, it's an easy-to-use data pipeline tool that helps businesses consolidate from any of their applications or data sources into their database or data warehouse of choice. Which includes Amazon Redshift, S3, Couchbase, and many, many more. In fact, Sync supports more than 200 data sources. And so in this case, the customer also decided to leverage CData's drop-in real-time Tableau connector so they could visualize and report on live Couchbase data. And I think that's a key point. Customers need to be able to both leverage and act on their operational data. And the primary way to do that is to pipe that data from a source to a destination. Okay, so with that, I want to hand the floor over to Brindra Gosai, who is going to highlight the modern data challenge that is faced by enterprises. And with that, I'll hand it over, Brindra.
Thank you, Jamie. Thanks so much. So I will be covering three key topics. Number one, the importance of data, the AWS modern data strategy, and the work that AWS is doing with partners like CData and Couchbase. So data is the underlying force that drives a lot of the insights and predictions that are needed for better decision making and innovation. Over the summer here in New York, I was talking to a family friend who's an executive with the consumer packaged goods industry, but he used to be a product manager back in the day. And he was telling me that the key source of customer feedback for him used to be a cassette tape they used to get every 3 months. And that cassette tape had recordings of voicemails that consumers had left on the small 1-800 number listed behind the products. So that was back in the day. And now product managers get feedback from customers in real time from a whole host of data sources, whether it's social media, comments on blogs, etc. So I don't doubt 1 minute when the analyst firm IDC says that there's going to be more data created in the next 3 years than the last 30 years combined. And Forrester did a study titled Insights-Driven Businesses Set the Pace for Global Growth. It is a hyperlink to the study is available on the slides attached here. And that study showed that organizations that are leveraging data properly are growing at over 30% year over year. So it's going forward in the future, it's going to be imperative for organizations to be data driven. However, another one of our partners, Accenture, did a study titled Closing the Data Value Gap that showed that over 68% of organizations were not able to realize value from their data, and only 28% of them had a real data strategy in place. So there's a lot of opportunity for growth here within the enterprise space, and to help organizations leverage data effectively. AWS released a blueprint called the AWS Modern Data Strategy. It is available on aws.com/data. And the AWS Modern Data Strategy, stands on three core pillars of unify, modernize, unify, and innovate. The modernize pillar talks about moving from legacy on-prem databases, data sources, and other infrastructure components to scalable and highly available uh, analytics infrastructure on the cloud. This, for example, means moving from on-prem databases or self-managed databases to fully managed databases like Couchbase, Capella, and upgrading your analytics pipeline so that it can handle not just structured data, but also unstructured data and streaming data by leveraging capabilities provided by, for example, CData Sync. Um, the Unify pillar focuses on breaking down data silos and getting data together into large data lakes or data warehouses like Amazon Redshift, so that the data can now be provided to other users within the enterprise that can leverage that going forward. And finally, the Innovate pillar focuses on uh, utilizing that data and leveraging that data effectively to now innovate, to help enterprises innovate on behalf of their customers. So this is at a high level the AWS Modern Data Strategy, focusing on the three core pillars of modernize, unify, and innovate. Can access more details about the AWS Modern Data Strategy, as I said, on aws.com/data. Now I'll switch gears a little bit and talk briefly about the work that AWS is doing with partners like Couchbase and CData. We have a very structured program here at AWS to help our partners build, market, and sell with AWS and leverage the AWS marketplace as a key digital platform for customer growth and distribution. And the AWS partners, our partners here within AWS are not just large systems integrators that have built practices on AWS, but also software companies and ISVs like Couchbase and CData that build and work together with AWS. So, to give an example about the work that Couchbase and AWS are doing together, Couchbase and AWS signed a strategic collaboration agreement in November 2022, focused primarily on working with AWS to offer developers flexibility of deployment, performance at scale, all at a compelling value proposition. So, as leveraging the SCA that we have in place, Couchbase offers developers flexibility to deploy Couchbase server and Couchbase Capella either on AWS regions or AWS local zones, or even edge services like Wavelength and AWS Outposts. And tests by Couchbase have shown that deploying on AWS local zones and Wavelength can reduce the latency for end users by over 70 to 80% when Couchbase services are deployed on the AWS Edge services. Talking about price performance, Couchbase Capella leverages Amazon Graviton instances that provide 40% better price performance than comparative x86-based instances. And finally, we work very closely with Couchbase and partners like CData that are part of special programs and focused on helping partners co-build, co-market, and co-sell with AWS. With that, I'll hand it over to David to dive deeper into how Couchbase, CData Sync, and Amazon work together to bring value to our customers.
Thank you, Barendra. So for those who are not familiar with Couchbase, Couchbase is a flexible, highly scalable, distributed NoSQL database customers use for a variety of workloads, from a caching layer to an operational data store, even to transactional system of record. Capella is Couchbase as a service, consisting of our distributed cloud database as a service and app services, which provide synchronization to mobile devices. Running Couchbase as a service makes it easier for teams to get started with Couchbase and focus more on building applications. So Couchbase Capella provides a fully managed database with enterprise performance and security. Couchbase has a distributed shared nothing architecture, providing high availability. Capella can be scaled both vertically and horizontally, providing a flexible environment to meet your workload's requirements. The Capella Web Console provides developer tools and even code snippets that can be used as a single pane of glass to manage your Couchbase clusters across multiple cloud zones and regions. So as applications and requirements grow, things look more like this, where app requirements use a variety of data management technologies. Managing solutions from multiple vendors, each with their own integrations and security requirements and support levels, can be both, challenging and costly. So Couchbase's integrated capabilities allow customers to support many different functional requirements, all in a single database, reducing data sprawl headaches. So let's go over some of the advantages of Couchbase. It's fast. Our memory-first architecture, elastic scaling, automated replication, and synchronization give fast performance, cloud to edge for millions of users. It's affordable. Our high-performance cloud architecture delivers the leading price performance of a database of as-a-service vendors. Scalability and flexibility allow customers to drive down TCO and experiment in a cost-effective way to test new ideas without breaking budgets. It's versatile. With data stored as JSON documents and multimodal access services, developers can build cooler, more useful applications quickly. And it's easy. Couchbase is designed to make the transition from the relational world simple, so customers can move to a modern while leveraging current skill sets such as SQL. So what is the benefit of the Couchbase approach? What if when developing an application, you didn't need to bring together different tools and technologies, integrate them all to meet your needs? You could innovate faster. Only Couchbase provides all of these integrated capabilities from a single vendor with one uniform data model and single programming interface. Our in-memory key value managed cache delivers millisecond performance without needing a separate caching product to learn. Leverage the SQL skills that you already have within your organization. Full text search, even with geospatial search capabilities and eventing, are available out of the box. No separate vendor or integration needed. And operational analytics can be performed in a massively parallel process without affecting other services and without ETL to elsewhere. The end result is an integrated platform that reduces time spent during and after application development and driving down the total cost of ownership. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague Saurabh from AWS, who will tell you more about Amazon Redshift.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, David, to give a great overview on Couchbase. Here we move on to a data warehouse, a cloud-native data warehouse, Amazon Redshift. So we do understand the importance of great operational database, right? So Couchbase really provides that. It has a lot of other features as well when it comes to analytics. But when what we see is in larger enterprises or even smaller ones, operational databases are controlled by one business unit or a part of the organization. while a lot of decisions which organization has to drive has to come when they look at the holistic picture. And these days, what we are seeing is because of the dynamic way in which the market is changing. We just heard from Birendra earlier how the way in which feedback was collected has changed from cassette tapes to now analyzing social media records as they come in and taking business decisions based on that. So we need to analyze all this data holistically. So everything has to be broken down. You have to break away from silos, and you should be able to do these complex queries on your data to get value out of it. So that's where Redshift actually shines. Here we have capabilities to bring data easily onto Redshift from various platforms. Again, when you have this massive scale on data, we have hundreds of thousands of customers who are using Redshift. They are using it at a big scale. We have to be price conscious there. So Redshift provides a very good price performance at scale, which you would see out there in the cloud landscape. We provide almost 5x better performance. We have seen customers have got 5x better performance compared to other data warehouses when we compare the performance on Redshift. Again, we want this to be easy, secure, and reliable. So with Redshift, it's easy to get started. We provide our customers with a range of choice as well. For example, customers who know what their workload is going to be, they can use Redshift provision clusters. They can provision their cluster based on the size requirement. Or we have flexibility when it comes to compute and storage. So with Amazon Redshift serverless offering, customers can even select a serverless compute so that they are only charged for the compute resources they consume and the data is stored separately. What helps in those use cases is, the data can also be shared among different teams which might have different clusters. So that's a great advantage. Again, I would dive a little deeper into breaking down silos. We did see that with CData Sync, it gives a great capability to bring data from Couchbase, operational data from Couchbase, and land that into Amazon Redshift. Amazon Redshift also has capabilities to directly query certain operational databases like RDS, which are relational databases, which are provided by AWS. So with this query, we actually do a push down federated query so that you don't have to migrate the data from a relational database onto Amazon Redshift, but we will actually leverage the capabilities of the underlying platform as well and only move the relevant needed data and don't have to migrate all the data. We have something called as Amazon Redshift Spectrum, so which actually gets you the capability to query directly onto data stored in Amazon S3. So why is this needed? A lot of organizations have like petabyte, have data which is ever increasing, right? So there are organizations that even have petabyte of data, and storing that in Amazon S3 gives them a very reliable and a durable storage, but at the same time, they can save on price, right? They can store this in a particular format like Parquet format, columnar store format that helps to query this data easily. They can also have some compression algorithms on that data and still use Amazon Redshift to query that data. That's the core advantage. And with a data lake, your price is, the spend on storing that data is kept really down. Another thing which I want to point out is even if you scale, you are using your first party data, but with AWS Data Exchange, you have capability to even bring third party data. So what this gives you is additional insight. You want to take business decisions which can help drive your business. So with the first party data, along with key third party data, which you can find on AWS Data Exchange, you can basically get insight and take better business decisions and help your business grow. So that's what we see, that a lot of our customers are able to do that directly using Amazon Data Exchange, and it has capabilities in Amazon Redshift that you don't have to do any ETL or transform that data. The data would actually land into your cluster directly, and you'll be able to leverage it directly from the platform without doing any data migrations. With that, I'll move on to invite Jared to show how CData is actually helping a lot of customers move that data onto Amazon Redshift and take full advantage of it.
Awesome. Thanks, Saurabh. So we'll start with an introduction to CData software for anyone that isn't familiar. CData is a leading provider of data integration and connectivity solutions. We're a global company with offices around the world. Our headquarters is in the Research Triangle Park in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, but we have teams in Europe, Japan, and India that are helping our customers both on the sales and support side across the globe. What we really offer is a way for every stakeholder in a business to get access to the data that they need, where they need that. And that could be using one of our connectors to get access to data in a BI or reporting tool. It could be using one of our software libraries to build an application that has easier access to data. Or it could be leveraging one of our higher value products like CData Sync to build out data pipelines. With that, in this webinar, we're going to be showcasing CData Sync. And so this is our fully featured data replication tool. It provides automated continuous data replication from wherever your data is to wherever you want it to be. And when I say wherever your data is, that's a list of 260 plus different sources. It could be SaaS applications like a CRM or ERP, an accounting solution. It could be that social media data that we've referenced so far, where we can get customer sentiment analysis. It can be an operational transactional database like Couchbase, and then it's pushing that data through these automated pipelines to wherever you want. So every popular database, data lake, data warehouse, data store, wherever that is. So you can see here on the architectural diagram, we can push data from anywhere, including Couchbase, into Amazon Redshift or Amazon S3. And the great thing about CData Sync is that it is self-managed. So you can run it within your own environment. You can run it on premises. You can run it on a server. But we also have Amazon Machine Images, AMIs, that are available that you can subscribe to, use your Amazon credits, and then you're hosting CData Sync itself within your AWS ecosystem alongside Couchbase and Redshift. So you get that security of knowing that your data is only ever in one spot. You're getting that performance that you get from hosting everything within AWS. And so you get this unified pipeline within one single ecosystem. There are a lot of other features that are available throughout CData Sync. Whether that's the point and click interface, whether that's an API to trigger your replication job so that you don't actually have to log into an interface. There's clustering available so you can scale out your replication tasks as needed. And we even offer transformations. So if you need to push the data in as exactly as it is, and then perform transformations on that data later, once it's in place as part of an ELT process, we support that as well. So we've already referenced the customer story, the banking organization that was piping their operational Couchbase data into Amazon Redshift and S3. But that's just one example of a problem that CData Syncs helps to solve. And so with that, I'll return things back to my colleagues so that we can cover that Customer 360 use case. So David, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, Jared. So capturing all of your customer interactions to build a single view of that customer is challenging, especially with legacy technologies. Couchbase Data Platform gives you the flexibility to aggregate all forms of data, delivering a single omnichannel view and giving both customers and customer-facing employees fast access for a seamless and more personalized experience. When we look at the system context, we see the Customer 360 system in the center with customer data on the Couchbase Data Platform. And there's four main components of a Customer 360 solution. User profile, which must contain attributes that cover the most important interactions between you and them, in all their life stages with agility, flexibility, and performance at scale. The session store where you manage critical online session data in real time so you can monitor user stats, maintain security, track behavior, place ads, provide access to content, and more. Recommendations where you query, aggregate, and provide personalized recommendations based on previous activity from the customer. And interaction history. Finally, we have captured all the interaction history or the steps that led up to a purchase or action. To the left, we have many data sources, which may include a mainframe or web clicks or social media. And we may also have downstream systems such as a data lake, or in our case, Amazon's enterprise data warehouse, Redshift. For all of these upstream and downstream systems, data movement will need to be flexible, reliable, and performant. That's where we enter CData Sync. And finally, to the right, we have the internal and business applications, all designed to further enhance the user experience. So there are a variety of use cases for Customer 360, which can serve multiple purposes, whether it be customer loyalty, personalization, or streamlining customer support, each providing an overall improved customer experience. So let's move on to the demonstration. So we're going to show data synchronization from an operational data store running on Couchbase Capella using CData Sync to the Amazon Redshift Enterprise Data Warehouse, all running within the same cloud region. So for today's demo, we've selected a data set, which is the e-commerce behavior data for a multi-category store. In this data set, each row represents an event related to products and users. In Couchbase, each event will be represented as a separate document. So we can look at our Couchbase Capella database. You can see we have a demo cluster specified. We look at settings and add buckets. We have a single bucket named test data. You can see we've ingested about 20 million documents. And if we go back to data tools and look at one of the individual documents, you can see that we have, this is basically an e-commerce store for electronic devices. And you can see we have user ID, product IDs, as well as brands and categories. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jared.
All right. Yeah, thanks, David. So let me share my screen. So I guess I've got the bulk of the demo in that I'm actually showing off the product that builds these pipelines. So this is the CData Sync dashboard. You can see here we've got a lot of information about our instance running. I am running this instance locally on my own workstation, but there is an AMI available in the Amazon Marketplace. So if you want to run CData Sync in your AWS ecosystem along with your Capella instance and obviously your Redshift instance, then you would have your data source, your operational transactional database running in Amazon. You'd have your data pipeline tool running in Amazon and your warehouse housed in Amazon, keeping things neat and tidy. So when it comes to creating a replication task with CData Sync, there's really just 3 steps. The first 2 are to create the connection to the source and the destination. And then the last step is going to be to create that replication pipeline. So we can start by looking at what it looks like to connect to Couchbase. In this instance, I need the server. I'm using basic authentication, which means username and password. But as you can see, there are other authentication options available. I can connect to the Nickel service or the analytics service, depending on where and how I need to pull the data in. In this case, I'm connecting to Capella, so I'll use the cloud connection mode. And once everything's configured, I can click Save and Test, make sure everything is set up properly. So I got the check mark, so we're good to go there. And then I need to connect to the destination, in this case, Redshift. So I've got my Redshift address, the database for the data warehouse where I want the data to ultimately end up. And then I can, again, authenticate in a variety of ways. In this case, I'm just using basic. We'll click Save and Test. We got the green check, so everything is good to go there. So the last step is going to be to create the replication task. So I've already got a job here. that's created. And then within this, there are a lot of options available for how you run your replication job, whether you want to perform incremental replication. And this actually makes sense in the case of an operational transactional database. Typically, an item is going to have a date time field that you can use so that you're only replicating those items that have been added since the last time you ran the replication job. You can schedule the job to run however often you need. You can set notifications so you're getting emails or Slack messages to notify you that the replication has been done. And that list goes on as far as the number of advanced features. Really, I just want one task. So each time I pull data from the source and push it into the destination, that is a task. So each bucket, each collection, each table that I'm pulling is going to be used to do that. In this case, I'm doing the test data. So that collection that David mentioned before, it identifies the metadata about the bucket ahead of time. So we know that the key index column is the document ID. So this is the unique identifier for each item within the collection that I'm replicating. When it comes to columns, you can map those columns as needed. In this case, there was no destination table when I initially created the task. So it created these column names. Oftentimes, you'll be replicating data from a known source into a known destination. And it's at that point that you could map your source columns to the appropriate destination column simply by editing the mapping. And then there are other advanced features here as well. So if you want to replicate in batches, if you need to alter the schema, if you want to configure separate incremental replication for this particular table, you can do that here. But in this case, we've just got the standard configuration done. So I am going to run this task. So I'm going to pull about 100,000 rows, and we should kind of see this happen in real time. And so while this is running, we're pulling data from this database. If I had set up that incremental replication that I had talked about, then it would be using the date and time of the last time I ran the replication job to filter the data that I am pulling, that I'm even requesting from Couchbase. So we're asking Couchbase only for the specific data set that we want. So all of those changes that have occurred, those new transactions that have happened since the last time we ran the replication job, and we would just push those into Redshift. And so you can imagine if everything is running in AWS, you're not replicating from a home laptop, then this 37 seconds is going to come down. But 37 seconds to do 100,000 rows from Amazon down to my home machine, back up to Redshift is pretty performant. And at this point, I'm going to turn things over to Saurabh, who, fingers crossed, will confirm that there are 100,000 rows in the Redshift table.
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Saurabh. Thanks. I'm just running the query to check if there are the 100,000 rows. We can actually see all the rows coming in, and to see the count. Actually, yes, I do see the 100,000 rows count here. We have the field table definition here as well, so you can actually see that the data is stored in a compressed manner based on the different type of data which is coming in, and we can then perform specific analytical query needs as you have. For example, here I have a query where I'm just checking the number of brand views or how many times it was put in a cart or purchase was made, and while running this, we can actually see the top 5 brands and the corresponding views, as well as the purchases made for those brands. So that's how we can, integrate operational database and analytical data warehouse to get the best of the both worlds, right?
Great. Well, thank you, David, Jared, and Saurabh for the fantastic demo. So today we've covered a lot of ground on how to build effective data pipelines, leveraging Amazon Redshift Couchbase Capella, and CData Sync. And now that we've done that, I want to dive into a roundtable discussion where we'll focus on optimizing data flows and maximizing the performance of the data warehouse. So I'll kick that off with the first topic, which is around what are the best practices for efficient data transfers? And so I want to ask you, David, first. Can you lead us off with some detail on how Capella fits into this equation in the context of efficient data transfers?
Absolutely, Jamie. And this is something that's important to call out, is that everything running, cloud native, we would run in, in a specific AWS region, as well as your AMI from CData, as well as Amazon Redshift. We have the ability not only to, not only improve performance and throughput, but by using a VPC peering technology, you'll be able to peer CData Sync to both Capella as well as Redshift, all within the same region. Now, what does that do? That improves security, improves throughput, reduces latency, and also we have Couchbase doesn't end up talking to Redshift directly. It's only CData Sync in the middle, so customer can also be rest assured that everything is very secure with with the proper pipeline setup.
Great, thanks, David. Jared, over to you. So, are there any techniques or best practices that enterprises should consider for reducing cost, as well as improving the efficiency of their data integration processes?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first and foremost for CData Sync, one of the great things is that we support that incremental replication. So, we're looking at fields when we first make that initial connection to know whether a specific bucket or a specific entity that you're wanting to pull data from has a field that it makes sense to use incrementally. That could be an integer column that is just like a row ID or a bucket ID, document ID. It could be a date time that you can use. But leveraging that capability is certainly going to help reduce the compute cost of CData Sync as it's processing data, as it's requesting data from Couchbase and then pushing that data into Redshift, and reduce the compute cost in that it's not going to be processing nearly as much data either. And so that's probably the first way. Once you start talking about data sources outside of Couchbase, if you're looking at replicating data from another legacy system, so let's say you've got a legacy database that you want to modernize and push that data into Redshift, then you can start using change data capture. So that's a commonly referred to technology for databases where it's using more robust features within the database itself to note changes, whether that's through a log or some other means. And CData Sync can leverage those capabilities, which is really going to improve the efficiency of your replications and help reduce that cost, again, because you're not processing as much data, you're not spending as much time on uptime with your CData Sync instance. So those are a couple of best practices, I think. Just make sure your whatever replication tool you're using, ideally CData Sync, that you're leveraging that incremental replication capabilities wherever you can.
Great, that's a really good insight, Jared. And just staying with you for a moment, how feasible would you say it is for enterprises to entirely automate, their data integration processes?
Yeah, so I think thanks to modern technologies like Capella and Sync and Redshift, I think it's entirely possible to automate it. I think one thing that is of note is that the initial setup is going to require IT involvement. So your line of business users, they know what they want to see in their reports. Your executives know what they want to see in their reports. They know that the data that they need from that warehouse to build their reports, to do their analytics, to do machine learning and artificial intelligence. But you're going to want to rely on your IT teams to do that initial setup to make sure that the data is managed properly and securely, that data is masked whenever it needs to be. But once all of that initial setup is done, CData Sync really helps you automate it because the replication tasks can be scheduled and run automatically. And so you can tweak that schedule as needed. So if you need it to run every day, then you can run it every day. If you need it to run every 10 minutes, you can run every 10 minutes. If you have a collection of data that you only need to see quarterly, you can schedule that replication job to run quarterly. But whatever interval you need, however you get it done, I think it's entirely possible to automate that data integration. And just to add one more layer of icing to the cake is that CData Sync doesn't just allow you to replicate from Couchbase, but it's going to hit the vast majority of other data sources that aren't already natively supported within the AWS ecosystem. So Saurabh and Barendra were talking about all of the data options that are available when it comes to breaking down silos within the Redshift ecosystem itself. CData Sync is going to extend that to a lot of the SaaS applications, CRMs, ERPs, accounting solutions that aren't supported natively.
Great, thanks, Jared. And now, Saurabh, I have a question for you from the AWS perspective. Integrating operational data into a data warehouse can be a challenge. It could be a challenging proposition for enterprises. Could you speak to why it's so important to be able to bring operational data into a data warehouse like Amazon Redshift, and maybe provide a bit of connecting file for how leveraging a technology like CData Sync can allow customers to get to that real-time analytical performance that they're shooting for?
Yeah, surely. So what we see is, there are changing dynamics, right? So business dynamics are changing when it comes to operational data. That is very effective at monitoring that, right? So number of sales which a business is doing, weather patterns, or even what happened during the pandemic, that can change those dynamics. Supply chain procedures are changing. All that is very accurately monitored by the operational databases. But a lot of the decision driving reports are catered with the data warehouses. Now, to get the right information for the right audience in your organization, you need to have that pipeline. At AWS, we do support some of AWS native as well as some partner data sources, but we do leverage partners like CData, who have 200 plus connectors there for different data source systems that can help extend what you can do with your data. The operational data has a lot of value, and that shouldn't be lost while driving those decisions. That's where we see that. And again, it's not an easy task. Like, for example, if organizations try to do this by themselves, try to do all the ETL by themselves, it can be a very heavy and managed operation, while CData kind of makes it easier to get this from various sources into Redshift or even a data lake, right? So data lake and data warehouse are one of the key systems which I see where you can store that data and get your proper analytics or even machine learning to take better decisions for your customers and help your business. So that's where we see the most of our users use it. At the same time, from Redshift perspective, we understand that customers might not be able to move all their data. So we have support towards federated query, where you can actually query your data lake or some of your operational data sources, so you can get a holistic picture even when the data is not on Redshift. I believe even on the Couchbase side, even when with the analytics capability there, you can actually leverage data stored on your data lake, for example S3, and query some operational analytics there, where some of your data is already offloaded to a data warehouse. So yeah, so these are like the best principles which we see. So offloading to a data lake is very good in comparison with pricing. While when it comes to very complex queries, you need a data warehouse to perform those queries and give you the right decision drivers, or even on the reporting side, right reporting for your downstream systems.
Great, thank you, Saurabh. And I just want to follow up on that question, since we've talked a lot about in the roundtable, achieving efficiency in data transfers. Saurabh, would you Would you add anything in the context of maximizing the performance of Redshift or the data warehouse itself? How do you get the most out of Redshift for online analytics or online analytical processing?
Yeah, the first thing which we all always see is having the data in Redshift. That helps. So migrating the data, though the capability is there to do federated queries, having the data whenever you want very high optimum queries in the system helps. For migration, we did, like David really covered that really well. Like having all the data sources in one region helps. For if you have data spread across, like if you're a global organization, if you have data spread across different regions, you can leverage Couchbase capabilities to around XDCR to sync all that data at one location and then move it probably, or have different capabilities to migrate all that data into one single region, because light speed finally cannot change, right? So on our systems, which we see is managing the data in one region in a single silo helps your analytics process.
Fantastic. So great insights from the group on the topic of, how do you maximize performance of the database and of the data warehouse. I want to move forward now into the Q&A section. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to drop those into the Q&A section in the chat. And we'll do our best to get as many of those answered as possible. But while I wait to see if anything pops up, I have a question for Jared. And this is around, can you elaborate on how real-time data replication could be particularly useful for e-commerce platforms like the one that we had a look at in the demo?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Couchbase provides a lot of capabilities when it comes to running that operational transactional database. Its ability to process, all of those transactions, to add new entries, quickly and efficiently. The rapid scalability of it is great. And then what you're going to want from that, what an e-commerce platform is going to want from that is the ability to get that data in a place where it can be easily analyzed, maybe alongside other data sources. So we've talked about this, but the ability to not only analyze data from where it sits in one place, but data from across all of your silos is going to provide deeper insights than looking at just one part of your data. So, Virendra talked about social media, about getting customer feedback about a product. And, it used to be on that cassette tape, which meant somebody had to sit and listen to it. But now it's social media posts, it's product reviews on the e-commerce website. It is, support tickets. It's, it is the transcript from a sales call or a customer success call. And generally, each of those platforms is going to be separate, right? Your social media site is the social media site that you pick because it's the best one for your business. You pick the e-commerce platform because it's the best one for your business. You pick the product hosting platform because it's the best one for your business. You picked your support ticket platform because it's the best one for your business. But now you've got all of these silos. And so getting that real-time integration where you have your ETL jobs that's pulling data from each of those places and pumping them into Amazon Redshift as a warehouse is going to give you that complete view. And it's not just a complete view, for the past 3 weeks. It's, the complete view. You get a picture. You could refresh a dashboard every 2 minutes, and now you're getting a rolling view of your customer sentiment. You're getting a rolling view of your sales. You're getting a rolling view of your inventory, all within the same dashboard because that replication job is running every 2 minutes. So I think the benefits are myriad. But really the big one, the one that sticks out the most is really getting that 360-degree view of not just your customers, but your organization as well.
Great. Thank you, Jared. And so let me ask another question, this time for Saurabh. In the case where a customer is considering Redshift, but wants to be sure they're on top of their storage costs, Saurabh, you mentioned that data is stored in a compressed format in Redshift. Can you speak a bit to how this might impact query performance and potentially reduce storage costs?
Yeah, so on Redshift, like there are two specific pieces which I would like to cover. One is the separation of compute and storage, as well as compression when it comes to storage. So with Redshift, we do compress the data, in columnar format, as well as there are indexes and everything is optimized on the storage side. So customers have to, when data is scanned again, you don't have to scan a lot of data. And the other advantage is on the cost side. So your costs are lower because your data is compressed. So those are the key two advantages. And by separation of compute and storage, you again have an advantage that you only pay for the compute you used and the storage capacity you are using. So those are added advantages with Amazon Redshift. So your costs are very optimized by on your usage. So if your usage goes high on the compute side, you'll be only paying for that. And if your usage goes high on the storage side, you'll be only paying for that. So because of that, there's flexibility for various kind of workloads on the data warehouse, and we are able to support many more customers there. Okay.
Great, thank you, Saurabh. And you know, I think we are probably running close on our time here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us today. And now that we've gone through the webinar, the demo, I think everyone has a good, solid understanding of how these technologies can integrate and lead to fantastic results for our customers around online analytical processing. In terms of next steps, I would suggest that folks on the call check out our listings on the AWS Marketplace. You can go and find free trials in the listings and check the solutions out on your own. And please also check out some of our upcoming webinars that are listed there below. And if you go into the docs section on the right side of your screen, you'll find a number of interesting assets that link out to allow you to learn more about some of the products that are discussed today, some of the technologies that are discussed today. And so with that, I want to thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.